Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Sheep and Cheerful Podcast, a podcast all about living as creative a life as I possibly can, in as cheerful a way as I possibly can. My name is Nicky. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Clara Peggotty, and I'm coming to you from the south coast of the United Kingdom. It's Wednesday the 1st of October today, the day I'm recording. I will be posting this up on YouTube on Thursday the 2nd, so I have got the date right. Let's just be clear about that. It's miraculous. And it's funny old autumn weather. Do the British thing, talk about the weather. It's been raining on and off. I was going to go outside and play with the dogs in the garden, a bit of ball throwing, but then the heavens opened and it poured hard, so we didn't go out. They weren't very happy with that. And yes, welcome back to all my existing, all our existing viewers. And if you're new to the podcast, a very warm welcome. If you're on Ravelry, pop over. I will talk about the Ravelry Group shortly, but we always love to have new people drop in and chat to us there. It's a lovely group. If you like what you see, then I'm going to do the whole hit subscribe thing down there. That will be good. We're edging closer to 2000. I think about nearly 1800, which is quite amazing. So it would be lovely, wouldn't it? It'd be really cool to get up to 2k, but you know, whatevs. What else? Do you know what? I feel a bit thrown now because normally I waffle around so much that introduction, and I kind of said it all quite succinctly for me, which is because I've been watching a few other podcasts and I think, oh yeah, they've got it. Oh, I mean, just that they've got it, you know, really down to a T, and I faff and fanny around and say something different every week. Anyway, there you are. Welcome. We're going to spend the next hour or so, I suspect, talking about mostly knitting and crafting. And can you hear that? I also have, for those of you who haven't been on the podcast before, I have two dogs, two English Springer Spaniels. I have Henry, who is back over there. You can just about see the wing of the armchair there. Well, he's parked himself on there. And I closed the door and now I can hear Honey walking around outside. So I don't know whether she will go and settle or whether she's going to want to come in. Henry can open doors quite adequately, Honey can't. So if she just starts to scratch, I apologise. I will have to get up and let her in. Right. What else do I say at the beginning? That's probably it. Thank you for all the well wishes for my my bad back last time. It was 2 weeks ago. I podcasted last and I was struggling with my back. It's improving. It is getting better. It's spasming less and less now, which is really good. I just have to be wary of it. But by the judge of all the, by the look of all the comments underneath last time's podcast, you know I'm not alone. I think so many of us have back problems. So, yeah, you just have to plough on, don't you really? Just have to plough. At least it's not hand problems where we can't knit or craft, which would be, you know, a bit of a choker, wouldn't it? So, right, let's go on to the Ravelry Group. We have an active, obviously, comment section down below, which I'm always happy to take questions from. I will put my email address in the show notes, so if anybody wants to email me directly with questions or queries, that's fine. We also have a Ravelry group for the Sheep and Cheerful podcast, which, as I said before, is lovely. We have lots of lovely chatter going on there. There's a good evening and welcome thread, so I would encourage you, if you come over and join, just to say hi, give us a wave, tell us a little bit about yourself. Lots of ladies, and it is, as far as I'm aware, all ladies, happy to jump in and chat and welcome you to the group. We have a few ongoing make-alongs. We have the long-term Scrappy Blanket Adventures going on, which is a joint make-along with Cherie from the Ollie and Bella podcast, who incidentally podcast last week after a little break. So jump over to watch Cherie if you haven't. You probably already have. And we are both co-hosting a Scrappy Blanket Adventures make-along. So it can be knitted, crocheted, woven, even, did we say, no, this one, I don't think this one is quilts, but I think it's mostly scrappy blankets. But I do say each week, you know, if you're knitting a blanket or if you're making a blanket, you're more than welcome to join in and share your progress. And then I will, and Cherie said this in her podcast, and I must chat with her, we will perhaps look at pulling a prize. So September's a quarter month, isn't it? And we've gone past that. We'll pull an October prize from the chatter thread. I will liaise with Cherie about that, and we will go in and draw a prize or even two, just to keep us all going through that. But that will go on till at least the end of the year. I have actually got my crochet blanket to share with you today because I've been putting some rows onto that. So that's really good fun. We've had all sorts of different styles of blankets and inspirations in that one. We've also got the Christmas bauble along going along, which I started at the beginning of September. I didn't really launch it. It's not really launched. I opened the thread. I started it at the beginning of September. And the idea is really, I started it then so that we could all very slowly and gently just make the odd Christmas bauble here and there, so that we've got a few extra ones when it comes to December and it's time to decorate the house. So I don't know about you, but I get to December and I had all these good intentions of making some new decorations, and then I ran out of time because it's Christmas. So I think there's a few of us in there. A few of us, I've made one bauble. I'm going to make one in October as well, or some sort of Christmas decoration in October. So it doesn't have to be huge. It's something that has to be hangable, if that's a word, on a Christmas tree or on a piece on bunting or on a cupboard handle, anything like that to do with Christmas. And it can be knitted, crocheted, felted, stitched, anything you like. So you can join in the chatter thread. We've had some really good patterns shared in there actually. There's one in particular that is, I think it's crocheted. It's a crocheted Brussels sprout. But one of the ladies came up with a brilliant idea of actually putting, instead of stuffing them, put a Ferrero Rocher or a Lindor inside it, hang it on the tree. The kids will never know. And then when you're having a particularly, you know, I don't want to say stressful, but, you know, challenging time, you can sneak in there and just and eat it. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Sorry, I am on a squeaky chair. I promise. It's the chair that's squeaking and not me, although it feels like my back should be squeaking. So yes, that's the other make-along we've got going, and that's all at the moment. We've also got just a general show and tell thread, so just show us and tell us about what you're working on at the moment. And we've got some lovely projects coming up there, and of course, gosh, so many ideas I want to add to my queue to knit, but that's really great as well. So yeah, do join in, do hop over there, don't be shy. Everybody is really, really lovely. But as I say, if you for any reason can't access Ravelry, or you don't want to be on Ravelry, but you want to be involved in some of the make-alongs, then you can either do it via letting me know on Instagram, or you can email me, or, you know, reach out at some way or other and let me know. Wow. Gosh, that was all a whole load of stuff, wasn't it? Now, last podcast, we had a giveaway launched, and true to form, I don't have my pair of the jasmine socks to show you, but basically I finished a pair of jasmine socks by Debbie, who is Daisy Stitches on Instagram, and Deborah Ford, I believe, on Ravelry. Do you know what? I've written this down to tell you about this, and I haven't brought any of the details. Okay, but Debbie, she is designing the most fabulous socks at the moment. She's prolific. She must be, designing in her sleep the way she's producing all these lovely sock yarns. And she produced, I believe they were the Sister Socks collection, which was a set of 3 patterns that I talked about on the podcast last time. If you want to have a look anyway, check her out on Instagram or on Ravelry. You do well to follow her anyway, because she's now gone back to bag making as well, and her bags are amazing. But I was offering, Deb very kindly donated 2 sets of the 3 patterns of that sock set to the podcast. And I asked you oh man, I get my teeth in today. I asked you last time if you wanted to be put in the draw for a set of Deb's sock patterns, then to leave a comment on YouTube. We ran it on YouTube, to start it with Socks Rock, and then just to say what would be your ideal project bag. So really, it was just really a thing to see what people like to see on their project bags. And I thought that would be good as well, because I knew Debs would read the thread. And if she saw the sorts of things we all wanted, then that might give her, get her into making them. So there was a bit of, what's the word? Market research. There was some market research going on there. And we had some brilliant ideas. Quite a few themes, as you can imagine. We had things like, there was a lot of floral requests and seasonal ones. So like autumnal pumpkins, obviously, winter sparkle, then the seasons like Christmas. We had lots of vintage Christmas, vintagey type of fabrics as well. Animals, sheep ones, dogs, hedgehogs, bees, then outdoors camping type of stuff. Then lots of people wanted ones with socks on them. So with either knitted socks or hats or something, so that you know what is in your bag. So that's quite cool, I thought. And then the actual kind of, what do I want to say, themed ones. So we had Scooby-Doo. I had said I would love an Umbrella Academy one, which might actually be in the offing, but we'll have to wait and see. Then we had The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Wizard of Oz, and then things like ballet, different coffees like pumpkin spice latte, and also ones with faith. And I thought I might have a look, see if I can get some fabric with some kind of Christian symbols, some faith, some nice sort of Christian sentiments or text on them. So yeah, loads. It was book themed as well. So yeah, that's just a selection of what people asked for. But we had 97 people in the draw. I did a random number generator through all the comments. And so the 2 winners for each will receive a set of 3 patterns is Heather Tucker and Deanne. So D-E-E, Deanne. So Heather and Deanne, well done, congratulations. If you would like to either message me via Ravelry, or you can DM me on Instagram, or even email me. My email address will be down below, and let me know where you would like your patterns. So whether you would like Debs to email them to you direct, or whether you have a Ravelry account, in which case she can pop them into your Ravelry account, patterns library. That's it. That's the word, library. So that's Heather, Tucker and Deanne. Congratulations on that, and thank you to everybody who joined in. I do like giving stuff away. I do like having giveaways and things like that. And thank you again to Debs. Thank you ever so much, Debs, for donating those pattern sets. And as I say, I said you'll check out Debs' Instagram feed and also her Ravelry as Ravelry shop, sort of design shop for the socks that she's designing. Right, that's mostly, I think, is that all the, that is, I think that's all the administrati we've got to talk about. So should we get on with some making and see what I've been up to? A quick sip, talking myself drying. Okay, I have one FO this week, and it's a woven one. And I suddenly had the urge to make some tea towels. And I was thinking I might make get a few made before Christmas. I had some cotton, and I used Scapier's cotton. Scapier's. I was taught how to say that, and now I've forgotten whether it's skirt or shirt, but never mind. And I decided I just, like you do, wanted to weave. So I got my 32-inch loom out, my rigid head loom, because the 16-inch one isn't quite wide enough. I make the tea towels about 18 inches wide finished, which means I need to warp the loom at least 19 inches. So obviously I need the larger loom, not the 16-inch one. And I did a very straightforward stripe. I haven't ironed this, so it's been washed, but it's not been ironed. There you go. Here's my tea towel. I'm rather pleased with that, has to be said. And you'll see that I've actually, what I love to do on tea towels is that I leave the ends. I fray the warp deliberately. Can you see that there? That's it. And then when you wash it, the cotton kind of puffs up a bit. Puffs up. Kind of fulls. I want to say it fulls, but it goes sort of a bit ragged and a bit worn. And I just think that's such a lovely effect. So I secure the warp across there so that it's obviously not going to come unravelled. Oh no, that's something sticking through on the desk. And then the edges, the sides, I hem them. So I turn them in, and if I turn this round, you can see. So I just turn that in and hem stitch, and I hem stitch with zigzag just to make sure it catches all the weft yarns as well as the warp. And it turns out, I haven't actually measured this, but I aim for about 18 by 24 because I've got some lovely Emma Bridgewater tea towels that are about that. And the colours in this are, there was like a tan, a very light fawn ice creamy colour. It's ice cream basically, isn't it? It's Neapolitan ice cream. So we've got a lemon yellow, although in this case it could be vanilla, a pink, and the fawn again. So I've just striped the three. I did put, I don't know if you can see that, I have actually, no, I did put a regular stripe of the fawn colour crossways across the weft, but it hasn't actually picked up. You can see it my side of the camera, so you'll have to trust me. Anyway, so that's been washed. That will get softer and softer. It's quite a thick one. It's lovely and thick, so we'll do a really good job. And I'm going to make some more of those. What I thought would be really nice is actually to make some, and to make some little dishcloths as well, and they would be really pretty sets, really lovely sets as gifts. But that was that. Right, so that's my woven FO. I don't have any other FOs, but I do have some whips. I was going to show you so much today. If you haven't already sussed, I've been reorganising my craft room. I've moved lots of things around, but the light is getting bad. I've left it till afternoon to podcast. I've still got some tidying to do and some sorting. So I think what I'll do is just share with you the whips, my current whips, but I am, as I sort out my room, going through all my existing whips and picking them up and deciding, what to do with them, when to work on them and things like that. So perhaps next week we'll have a real whip review. But so for this week, last week you'll remember I had cast on the waving lace socks. By Evelyn A. Clark. I have also put a picture, there you go. I put a picture of these on Instagram this week, and it's from this Favourite Socks book from Interweave. And I was coming down the foot, I think, when we last spoke. Well, I've now turned the heel. Looks really weedy like that, doesn't it? It's skinny. So there you go. So it's a simple heel flap and gusset. It's a twisted rib. No, it's not. It's not a twisted rib. It's a slip stitch heel. Excuse me. So it's a slip stitch heel. Wow. I've got the light on and you probably can't see it. It's so sparkly, this yarn. So yeah, so I'm using, and the yarn I'm using here is the Pumpkin Patch sock set from Ellie, Craft House. This is giving me on to joke. Craft House Magic yarns and podcast, and so we've got the little green mini that came with it. I shall do a green toe as well, and then this beautiful speckled sort of pumpkin-y orangey colour. Such an autumnal colour, that. So yeah, I've finished the gusset decreases now, so I'm just coming down the foot. So I haven't put a huge amount of work onto that, but I've been chucking away at it. I should also say that this is really quite a deep heel and I really like it. Instead of doing 16 or 18 rows of double rows, so have the slip stitches, so that's 32 or 36 rows of your slip stitch heel. She actually has you do 20 or 40 rows, so you pick up 20 stitches, and it's a really nice deep heel flap. I really like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits when I put that on. But yeah, so the Waving Lace Socks by Evelyn A. Clark. Yarn from Ellie. CHM, that's what I should call it, don't I? For Craft House Magic. And that is living in my dodgy bag that was sent to me by Karen from down in Australia. And that was meant to be a really rubbish accent, by the way. I was just being silly, so please don't cringe. Right, let's pop that over there, my other desk. Okay, I also cast on, and I don't think I had cast this on. Oh, so I've got this metal bowl here, and the stitch marker hit that. Did you know that? This is in one of my favourite project bags. This is from the Little Grey Girl, and this is a Tula fabric. Now, some of you said you really like geometric patterns. Head over to Gem's shop, Little Grey Girl, because she does a lot of fabrics of geometric-y type patterns. So obviously this isn't, but she does quite a lot over there. I cast on the Goosebump sock blank. I'm sure I didn't have this cast on last time, because I don't think, had it come? I'm not sure whether it had come before. Anyway, this is the Goosebumps sock blank from Helen, one of my favourite dyers, as you know from watching the podcast. This much. I don't know where the words are coming from today. You know, as in, why am I saying what I'm saying? That's out of practice, isn't it? It's 2 weeks. It's too long. Okay. If you've been watching previously, you know how much I like Helen's yarn. She's Giddy Yarns. She has her own website, her own shop, and this is the most amazing sock blank. Now, my kids are too old to have been young enough to do the Goosebumps thing, but I know there were books, and I have a feeling it was a children's TV show as well, but I'm not entirely sure. A little bit past my kids' sort of age group, or yeah, but to me This is great. I love the really bright flashes of the fluorescent green, the neon green, not fluorescent. And as we've said before, if you work from a sock blank, all I'm doing is I'm unraveling it. So you're literally frogging this piece of knitted yarn. Did it again. This piece of knitted fabric, you're frogging it. This was a machine knit piece of fabric, and you frog it and knit from it rather than pulling from a ball. I also keep putting my hand in front of my face. Such a rubbish episode, but we've got lots of knitting, so there you go. Anyhow, I decided to do the blueberry waffle pattern. Now, I'd had a chat with Cherie, on Ollie and Bella Cherie, about this, because we were saying that some patterns are so simple, but they're sometimes just you just can't get your head around them. And she said to me she'd been struggling with blueberry waffle, and I said, well, I remember trying to knit it a year or two ago, and I couldn't read my knitting then for some reason, and I couldn't work out which row. It's a free pattern, so I couldn't work out whether I was on the knit rows or the rib rows, and yeah, I abandoned it then. But I thought, no, I'll do that because it'll give a bit of texture. With a sock blank like this, you wouldn't want to have anything too detailed because you would lose the pattern in all the variegation of the yarn. But I have been working on this. I've done them toe up because I want to make them quite long. And that is my first sock. There you go. Ta-da! So you can see the blueberry waffle. And then actually that's just a bit cool for some reason there. And then the back. So you can just see the yarn and get an idea of how it's knitting up. And obviously I put just a plain black toe in. I thought it had to be black. So it's really, yeah. I never know how close to the camera to go really. There you are, have it right in your face. But I think these are knitting up really, really nicely. Really enjoying knitting on these, and you can see I'm back on their DPNs again. These are in fact higher bamboo DPNs, which I also like. I'm using higher bamboos, and I'm also using the Leica driftwood DPNs because I like those as well. But so you've got, that's what the sock blank looks like, and that's what it knits up like. Obviously, depending on your gauge and what you're making, it may look a little bit different, but that will give you a general idea. So love these two. So both this and my waving lace socks, my pumpkin socks, are my October socks. And yeah, I'm going to be working on those. I've got another pair to cast on. I've got 3 pairs of socks I want to make in October. The others were the Dotty Wool Company, which, again, can't remember if I showed you, but I've not cast them on anyway yet, so I shan't show you those anyway again. So that's those socks. So that's 2 pairs of socks I've got on the go. What's that? Okie dokie. The next thing, oh, quick sip of tea. Living in my beautiful mermaid project bag, made, oh gosh, a couple of years ago by Rachel of So Ray Me. Hang on, I've talked about Rachel before and her lovely, there you go. She makes bags. She does a lot of journaling supplies as well, and she also sells fabric in her shop on Etsy as well. But this I've had for a little while, and it's just beautiful. I just love that bag. And I think it's got wadding in it. I think there's batting in it because it feels slightly squidgy. Anyhow, in this bag, I pulled out a long-standing whip. Oh, look, I pulled the wrong... See, when you're on the camera, I wanted to pull my... Never mind. I pulled out my long-standing whip. Those of you who were with me, I don't even know if it was last November or whether it was my Easter vlogs. Anyway, I cast on the Aurealis sweater by Jennifer Steingass, who is Knit.Love.Wool. You'll all know her sweaters, I'm sure, because they are, they have been, here it is, and it's in black and white. Sorry, but that's the one. So that's Aurealis, and actually her sample was knit in, like everything was knit in spin cycle yarns. So it's actually got the changing of colour through the colour work there. Well, I've not done that. I've just used one colour, but I love it. I love it. So I picked that up. I'd started the colour work on the neckline, and then from the neck, it's top down, and I have put quite a bit of work into it. So there you go. Hang on, it's rolling up. There you go. Now that's my Aurealis sweater. Gosh, this looks really weird. At the top of the screen where I'm recording, when I do that, it goes really light and pale. I apologise if the lighting is a bit dodgy today. So I'm changing my room around, and also it's quite dark outside, so I've had to put the lights on. But there you go. So that is, and I'm really actually the back. Let me show you the back because it's dropped down. There you go. Really pleased, and in fact, where the owl is, I think is probably where I was last time. And as you can see, I put in about 2 inches. I've done all the increases now. So I've got about another 20 odd rows of colour work to do before I split. Gosh, I'm all wonky today as well. Before I split for the sleeves. There you go. Did I just say spit for the sleeve? So loving that. So yeah, I put quite a lot of work into that the weekend actually. And the yarn I'm using for that is the main colour. It's Blacker Yarns Brushwork, which is that in the stipple colourway. This yarn is no longer available, so don't get too excited. This is a sport weight yarn. I bought this from Yarndale about 3 years ago. First time I went to Yarndale, I think. And it was their birthday yarn. It was when they launched a yarn every year for their birthday. And I bought that, and then I didn't use it, and suddenly this sweater needed sport weight, so that was perfect. And then, oh, that's Honey scratching at the door. Just hold on a second. I'm using Ulysse by Rerum Natura. And this is the Figue colourway. And this is sport weight as well. And these are both, I'm pretty sure they're both woolen spun. This is woolen spun. I'm pretty sure this is woolen spun too. So they're really lofty, and they really love working together on the colour work. So yeah, really enjoying knitting that. It's really lovely. Hang on, I'm just gonna go to the door and let Annie in. Right, sweater's falling off my shoulders now. So that is the Aurealis sweater. So really enjoying working on that. The rounds are pretty long now, so just heading towards that sleeve split so that I can get around it a little bit quicker. Right. Oh, excuse me a sec. Right, that's Honey sorted out. So they were my whips. They were the ones I've been working on. Oh, I talked about my blanket in just a moment, but I also had myself a little cast on party, only yesterday actually, and I will show you what I cast on. Now these are both gifts. One is a sort of Harvest Festival gift. I love that. I love using Harvest Festival because that kind of implies the pumpkin-y thing without it being Halloween, doesn't it? So that's fine. So I decided, way back again in the vlogs, I think, you may remember seeing baby Regan, who is Hannah's best friend's little boy. And he's about 22 months now. And Jordan, his mum, has got him a pumpkin costume to wear for Halloween. And they were around here and I was chatting, I was saying, oh, it'd be so cute to wear a little pumpkin beanie hat. And I had remembered that Lisa, who is Doll Valley Girl Knits, I will put all the details down below, had put a picture up on Instagram of her design of pumpkin beanie that she had made for her children. And I loved it, and I just needed that tiny excuse to knit one. So I decided to knit one for Regan. So I went out, I didn't have any suitable coloured yarn because orange isn't a colour I normally would have. So I dipped out into town yesterday and picked up a skein of, this is Stylecraft DK. The pattern calls for worsted weight, but obviously in this country, certainly commercially, we don't tend to get worsted weight. So I just bought some Stylecraft DK in this orange. It is 100% acrylic, and I absolutely hate the fact that I bought acrylic yarn. And don't take umbrage if you're looking to use it. I have no problem with people using acrylic yarn. I don't mind it's acrylic. I love the feel of it. It's so soft and it's cheap and it's fabulous. But in principle, as you will know if you've been following me for any amount of time, I am anti-synthetic fibres as much as I can possibly be. So I would love to buy a load of this to make a blanket or whatever. But for me, I just cannot do it because I don't want to use oil-based synthetic fibres when there's a huge amount of natural fibres available. That said, I try and make myself, look, it's horses for courses sometimes. You just have to do what you have to do. And knitting a hat for a 2-year-old that will probably be thrown on the floor and all sorts of things, it will need to be machine washed, all this biz. I thought, no, just be sensible here. Plus I wanted to start it. So I went up, I looked at all the yarns. My local yarn shop didn't have any that was wool, that was the right colour. So this is what I went for. So it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. As I say, ideally I wouldn't use synthetic yarn for no other reason than that I think it's better for the planet if we use natural fibres. That said. So I hope I haven't offended anyone. I hope I've made it clear that that is just my personal opinion and there. But as I say, none of us are perfect. I just made the compromise this time. Wasn't going to get into all of that, but there you go. This is me, isn't it? This is my podcast. This is where you learn a bit about me. Anyway, the pattern, and I did, it's paid for. I didn't print out the front page, but I'll show you. Now this little boy, it looks like he's wearing the Gramps cardigan from Tin Can Knits actually. But he's obviously dipped, or she, I can't tell, it's her head down. That's the actual, that is the hat. How stinking cute is that? I just love it. Check out Lisa's Instagram. She's got a picture of her 3 children all wearing these hats and they are just fantastic. So this is the pumpkin patch beanie, and as I say, I will put the details down below. And I have done 3 pattern repeats. There. Can you see that? You can see my little ducky stitch there, my little ducky progress keeper. That was from Rachel, actually, So Ray Me. It's one of my favourite ones, that. And then that is the hat. So it's going to stretch. This is for, say, just under a 2-year-old. And I wanted it to fit him like now. And I didn't want it to be too big. So I've gone for the 18 to 24-month-old size of this. But you can see it's so clever because it looks like it's cabled, but it's not. It's actually a faux cable. It's slip stitch. So again, if you look on this one, I thought it was cable actually. I was fully prepared. I thought, no, I'll do the cable. And you see it looks like cable, but actually it's not. So yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3. I think I've got about 3 more pattern repeats to go, and then I start the crown decreases. So that's a really sweet little knit. Really loving that. In fact, Jordan, Megan's mum, said when I showed her, she said she wanted a matching one. So if I've got enough yarn left, I might even make her a matching one. But it's so cute. And then obviously I need to get some green, which I've probably got in stash, just to do the little I-cord. I imagine it's an I-cord. I haven't read ahead in the pattern, but for the little stalk at the top. How gorgeous is that? Knit myself one, couldn't I? I think a 20-year-old trendy girl with various piercings and tattoos could get away with that. Not sure I could. Mind you, I could, just for being bullshit, couldn't I? So anyway, really loving that. And that's literally, I cast on last night and did about 3 rounds of rib. So I cast on first time, and I thought I was doing the 12 to 24 month old, and it was looking really small. And I said to Hannah, this is too small for Regan, isn't it? She said, oh yeah, but the next one was child, and I thought, I don't want it to be too big for him, because it'll probably be lost by next year, won't it? Let's face it. But I thought, oh well, I'll have to go up a size and do the child. When I looked, I'd actually, what I'd done, hang on, let me show you. Again, made a complete boo-boo, as you do. So, can you see here where it says size, and then it's got newborn, and then 6 months, and 12 to 24 there? Well, I hadn't taken into account newborn, and I just started doing the first one in the brackets. So I'd basically ended up doing the 6-month-old, the cast on, with the number of stitches for that. So I had to frog that. It was only, you know, it's only like a sock, isn't it? But it was so small. So anyway, that was that. How are we doing? See, lots of knitting content this week. Honestly, this, I do love this sweater. This is my, you know, the one I've worn before, which I've now, do you know what? I remembered the name of it before the podcast, and now I forgot again. It will come to me. Anyway, but it is very wide shouldered, and it does slip off the shoulders, basically. Right, the next thing I wanted to knit was, I had decided to knit a hat for Jonah's girlfriend, Emily, for Christmas. And as you know, I've already made her some socks, and I thought when I made the sock head slouch hat, last year, year before, she really loved it. She really loved the style and said she'd really love one. Well, obviously I didn't knit one straight away, as you don't. And then I thought that I could do that. And I've been wanting some slightly easy knitting, to sort of TV knitting. The socks I'm knitting at the moment are patterned, so they need a little bit of concentration. And I thought, actually, if I do a beanie hat like the sock head slouch, then it literally is just stocking stitch. But then I remembered that Tristan Molina, I believe is her name, Dragon Horde Yarns and Dragon Horde Designs, yeah, Tristan Molina, who I was lucky enough to meet at Edinburgh Yarn Festival with her mum last year. We were in the same group of pals, sort of at a knit night. She designed a hat called the Everyday Slouchy Beanie, which again is, it's a paid for pattern, but there's no details on there. And it's a black and white, there you go, picture. But the main thing is with this, it's one of those popular ones where it's fingering weight yarn held double with mohair. And it's a turned brim, but no rib. So it's stocking it all the way, and then just with a double brim. And I thought that would be really nice. So when Debbie, down Sheepy Lane, Debbie launched her Halloween colourways, I saw a colour that I thought would be really great for the hat, for the beanie. And so I bought it, and let me find it. And it is called, this is it. This is called the Pumpkin King. No, it's there. I don't know whether that's helping or not. But it's basically black and charcoal and dusky green and orange. It's an amazing colourway. This is from her collection of The Nightmare Before Christmas. So she's got this, and there is another one called Sally, which I've also got, which, now, I don't know what I've done with it. It's somewhere. Anyway, I'll show you that another time. So yeah, so I've got that, and because Emily wears mostly black, I have to say, I thought this would be great. And then I bought some Isaga mohair silk. And again, I wouldn't normally use silk because I'm not particularly pro silk, but needs must in this case. I bought off Wool Warehouse, I think it was. I found some mohair microfiber combo, which is just, it was like this, and it came up as black, and when I ordered it and bought it, it was purple. And it's called Vogue, and it's still on there as black, but it is as purple can be. So that was really irritating, and they didn't have any other type of dark black one. So in the end, plus the quantities were just right in this Isaga one. So it's the Isaga, so it's 75% mohair, kid mohair, 25% silk, 212 meters, which I think will just about be enough. And I'm holding those double to make the slouchy beanie. I have literally just cast on the provisional cast on and started using that, so you can see there's not really anything to show you there, and you can see how lazy I was. I was sitting in the kitchen last night and I needed scrap yarn to do the provisional cast on, and this ball was sitting there, so I used that to do my provisional cast on. I hate doing provisional cast ons. I did think about not doing it. I know Amber, yarn hoarder Amber, doesn't do the provisional cast-ons. I think she just literally sews up the folded bit, but I thought, no, I'll do that. So that's as far as I've got with that, but hopefully by next week I'll have a bit more to show you. Debbie's colourways are lovely. So that's that. And oh, I put on Instagram today her Shifting Seasons Sock Club. The mood board that she's choosing for next month, I think it's for November, for October, is just stunning. The colours are just beautiful. Talking of Debbie, she has also donated a prize, or a giveaway prize for the podcast. She sent a little group of minis. So that's there, you can see, down Sheepy Lane. And then she's got these various little minis, really pretty, really autumnal, very much feels for this time of year, with a splash of red in there as well. So that will be going into the prize tub for the next giveaway, or for the next prize. Okay. One more thing to talk to you about in terms of knitting. I also decided that I needed a meaty project. Yeah, because I haven't got enough to do. Now, way back in January, I bought a kit for the Rose sweater, the Rose cardigan by Andrea Mowry. I tried on the sample cardigan when I was teaching up at Tribe Yarns in Richmond, and I absolutely loved it. I've loved the cardigan ever since the pattern came out. But I tried on the sample knit at Tribe, and really, really loved it. So I bought the kit, which Millie was selling. She'd done it with Bernie from Bear in Sheep's Clothing, who's an Irish dyer. And that's her label. And I have met Bernie, funnily enough, at Edinburgh as well, and another show, not sure where, but anyway. The Rose cardigan, if you don't know, is that, and I did look at that, I splashed out and printed it in colour. But I was also aware that it's quite a challenging knit because the construction goes across the body and you knit it in quadrants across the body, and it is quite, there's quite what's the word, you do things concurrently, so you might be increasing one here every third, but then you do the cable every fifth, and then you do shaping up here every ninth, that kind of thing. So I knew it was a challenge, and I knew that actually she produced, in the end she produced a spreadsheet with all the different things you have to do on the different rows. But I thought, no, look, do you know what? I'm a competent knitter. I'll take it slowly. I've got the kit. I couldn't foresee myself using that for anything else. I say the kit, the yarn for it. So yeah, I did. Please note, I did a gauge swatch because I thought if I'm going to knit something this complex, I need to make sure I'm on the right lines at least. So the first colour, which is the darker colour, is that one, which is a mossy greeny brown, really pretty, and that's actually called Wasabi, and that was my gauge swatch, so that will give you an idea. And that, so if you then look at the sleeves on that, that's where the darker colour is, and then the other colours just get lighter. So yeah, I haven't yet, and this is BFL, it's Superwash BFL, this base, and it's lovely. It's got a real halo to it actually. It's really lovely. So that is a project all ready to go, which I may well start this week. Depends on how my other bits and bobs. I think probably pumpkin hat first, get the everyday slouchy beanie, get that going, carry on with my Aurealis and the other socks. Throw a few other things in, bit of cooking, bit of this, bit of weaving, bit of that. I will talk about my time scheduling in just a moment, but finally I wanted to show you my crochet blanket, my cupcake stripe blanket, which is basically my scrappy blanket, but I'm using the cupcake stripe pattern for Attic 24. It's in my Catechism basket, which is this, which I've had for quite a long time. I've got minis, where I've done mini swaps, so I've put the minis into a bag so I know who gave them to me, so I know whose yarn I'm knitting with. But also I have to be careful because I have a little teddy bear bell. It's actually a progress keeper. Can you see that there? That Jules sent me, or that, no, I think I bought it from Jules actually, and it's on my basket, so every time the dogs walk past this and knock it, we get the little bell ringing. You'll also remember I'm keeping my secret diary of a scrappy blanket. Look how that's coming along now. I love that, it's so tactile. So each time I put some rows on, I just I add a card, and I add, in this one I put all three on the same hole actually, but look, so you'll see there. And basically I put, this is, the yarn used was Cherie, Josie, Cherie, so they were from my swaps. I put that on my back. I just had a heated lavender pillow on it, and the weather was really rubbish because it's now middle of September. So, you know, I like I love having this as a memory. Somebody asked after whether I was going to put some more in the shop, and I think I might put some more together with some new covers, but they obviously take quite a lot of putting together because it's I need to cut up all the cards and things, but we'll see. Anyway, enough of that. Let me show you how my blanket is coming along. Right, actually, I'll do what all the best podcasters do. So that's, can you see that? That is the progress keeper. That's where I was last time I showed you. So it was kind of right up there. Can you see that? Yeah. And I have done not match that much, not that much, not that much, not that much more. Look at that. So there's the thing. So I've done all these rows here. It's up to my bust. There you go. And I'm 5'4", and there's Henry going for a walk. No, and sneezing for us. So I'm not going to go through all the yarns, but these are the rows that I've just been doing. They're so pretty. This one, it's so lovely. And these ones, as I've just said, are from swaps I did with Cherie, Ollie and Bella Cherie, and with Josie, who's Beaches and Birdsong, who gave us the beautiful mini set for a giveaway. And what I'm doing, if you, what most people do obviously with these days, I'm actually holding my minis, my hand-dyed minis, I'm holding them double with just some drops alpaca, some 4-ply drops alpaca. So again, you've got the lovely floof of the alpaca on that, gives it a bit of a halo, and I am using a 4mm hook. So it's not a fancy schmancy hook. I think it's probably a clover one, size G, but it's purple and it's pretty. Using that, and as I say, the pattern is from Ulysse, Attic 24, the cupcake stripe blanket, and I have talked about this before, but it's a 4-row pattern repeat. So you've got two rows of doubles, sorry, and then the clusters, 2 rows of clusters, and it just gives it that pretty pattern. Absolutely love that. I really wanted to, last week I felt really inclined to to crack on with my blanket. I just wanted to sit and have like a bit of peaceful crochet time with my blanket. So there you go. And that, my lovelies, I think is that. Let's look at my notes. I've done that. Oh, I was going to talk to you about my bits and bobs brioche blanket, because basically I'm going to frog it, but I'll perhaps leave that till next week. I'm not happy with that at all. Yeah, I think that was it. I only have one thing for Blame the Hormones this week, which was a purchase from Vicky at West Greenloft Yarns. I went online to purchase one colourway and I saw another and I thought, no, I want that. And it's one that I've been in love with for ages and that I bought. And this is, again, it's a classic sock set. So I'm imagining it's superwash merino nylon. Doesn't say on here. But this is Vicky's Eleanor Dashwood colourway. If you know Vicky's yarn, which I'm sure you will do, I'm going to have to come closer. You can see those. There. It's purples and pinks, and there's some beige in there. It's so pretty. Eleanor Dashwood is a character from Sense and Sensibility. So Vicky dyes a lot of colourways based on Jane Austen characters and classics. And I just saw this and it called my name. It really did. In fact, it's calling now. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, that was my Blame the Hormones this week. Obviously I bought the yarn from Debbie, the Pumpkin King yarn, but that was for a specific purpose, so I think that was okay, wasn't it? Right, okay, quick sip. Right, that's all really that I've got to share with you this week. I have taken a little bit of footage. I was going to do a kind of a Q&A. Oh, you can see. fact, look there, that's Henry in the background. You can, oh no, he's there on the chair. I was going to do a Q&A with Hannah about Gilbert, because Gilbert, our little fairy critter, is now 6 months old. Oh, so adorable. And I did a bit of filming, then the camera battery died. But I will put what we did at the end of the podcast this week if you want to see Gilbert, who is Hannah's chinchilla, in case you didn't know. I don't think there was anything else other than to say to you, a little bit of news, a bit of update about me. You'll notice I've done quite a lot of crafting this week. I made the decision at the weekend that I'm actually going to withdraw from my study programme, from my master's. Now, I've been doing it a month and it's quite honestly just not ticking the boxes. I really miss my crafting. I didn't realise how important my kind of creativity was to me. And I was just too exhausted from studying and, running a family and a household to actually really do much knitting. And it just wasn't, the payoff wasn't good enough from the study. I'm not sure that studying online works for me either. I'm definitely a people person. I like to interact with people, and I get a lot more out of that than sitting in front of a computer screen studying off of PowerPoint slides and what have you. That and a few other things. There's some other stuff that you don't need to really know about, but suffice it to say, I made the decision that this wasn't for me. It's not where I'm at anymore. I want to be creative and craft and do my sustainability thing, but in my own small way and in my own small world, really. So, hence the cast on party. Yeah. I thought, you see, and there's, I popped onto I haven't had time to go on the Ravelry Group. I didn't have time to do so many things, and that's fine. You have to make choices, don't you, and decide on things. But at the end of the day, I decided that no, actually, and I also, for those of you who are also Christians, and as you know, I felt very much that God was kind of nudging me. That's Henry scratching his ear, sorry. And saying, no, actually, you were on the right path. You were on the path that I wanted you to be on. And I don't think this is your path. I very strongly felt that, because the other thing was I was so busy studying, I was losing track of my Bible study and of my Bible journaling. As you know, I was so enjoying my Bible journaling. So there's going to be more of that coming up. I'm going to share more of that with you once I get sorted. I'm still in the process of de-academicifying this room, hence the change around. I've done lots. You can get the right thing. You can see my notice board, which was covered in details about policy making and politics, is now instead covered in wonderful cards and pictures that friends have sent me over the years with my crafting. I've changed things around. I've got a new little nook area back there by the window. I'm going to be doing the book reviews again. I was going to do one this week, but actually I've talked myself dry now. But next week, and I go back to weekly podcasts as well. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing that one, I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith, which is an absolute cracker of a book. It's absolutely wonderful. I've not long finished it and I want to talk to you about it. And I suddenly realised it would soon be time to read A Christmas Carol again. 2 months to go yet. But so if anybody's up for that again in December, because as I said last year, I read it every December and I love it. So yeah, lots of other things going on, I think. Once I get myself back on track with things, I think we'll be able to do some more make-alongs and maybe some collaborations with some people. I say I'm going to get the loom out, do a bit more weaving. I think I'll probably even do some spinning. I'm looking up there because I put my e-spinner up there, but actually I've moved it and now it's there on my shelf. But so that's where I'm at. I'm I'm really pleased. I'm really happy with the decision. I'm a little bit sad that the Masters wasn't for me. It's something that we've talked about me doing ever since I did my bachelor's degree 15 years ago. But, you know, things change. I didn't have my creativity going on then. Our situation was a bit different then as well. So now, yeah, it's a good one. I'm very much at peace with the decision. So, yeah, that's that. Back to the knitting needles. So I think that's all I've got to say to you for the moment. I will put a little bit of Gilbert Stanley Winterton, as Hannah calls it, at the end of this. And in the meantime, don't forget, if you were the winners of the sock patterns, reach out to me and I will pass your details on to Debs. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for putting up with my word mashing. And I'm not going to go and cut them out because there's so much, it'd only end up being a really short podcast, wouldn't it? I will get cracking, so I've got lots of content for you hopefully next week. I hope you'll have a really good week. Keep safe, keep well, keep knitting and crafting, and keep cheerful. Good morning, Hannah.
Morning.
Now, what are we going to do this morning?
We're going to get out Gilbert Stanley for a little play.
Let's zoom in. There he is, look.
And he heard me, so he's very excited.
He's like, let me out, Mum.
You want to come out?
Okay. Here he comes.
Hi, buddy.
So.
Oh.
Well, that was rude. You're supposed to hold on to him.